This is Neil Schneider for MTBS-TV at CES 2020. To my immediate right is Chris Langstaff. He's Vice President of Product Management for Mindtech. Welcome to the program, Chris.
Hi, thank you.
Now, this is new territory for me, what you're doing, but I just find it very, very interesting. I mean, we take it for granted that, cameras can identify things, but there's an artificial intelligence behind making that work. Can you elaborate a little bit more as to what's happening to make, computer identification work?
Yeah, sure. So I think everyone's used to these days to their smartphone saying you're taking a photograph of food and identifying that that's food. So behind that, the fact that the camera understands, the smartphone understands you're taking a picture of food is typically an AI system based on neural networks. Now, for a neural network to understand that, we have to have trained it using lots and lots of images of food. So we've shown it a lot of images of food so it understands what food is.
Now, but I think there's challenges with getting the imagery to learn from. Can you elaborate a little more on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the use case I just gave, food, it's very, very simple for you to find lots of different foods and photograph that, and then to what we call annotate it. Now, annotating it means basically someone sitting there and pixel by pixel on the image, coloring in, this is food, this is the plate, this is the background. So it's very, very time-consuming process and very expensive, therefore.
When you say expensive, how much?
So typically for an image, it could be up to $5 for an image. So one single image could cost $5 for a complex image.
And how many images do companies often need to make these things work?
So you're typically going to want, 1 million images. It's not uncommon to want 1 million images to get the results that you need.
And do you need to get permission? I mean, the food isn't going to talk back at you, but or hopefully, unless you cook very badly. But what about people and private things? I mean, do you have to be concerned about how that imagery is handled?
Yeah, Neil, that's an excellent point because, for food, like you say, typically there's no real issues there. But if I want to, let's say, do facial recognition and I want to store a database of faces, then that gets some real privacy issues there. Also, let's say vehicles. If I've got vehicles and license plates and things like that, again, there's privacy issues there. And there's certain areas where it may be very difficult to film for privacy reasons. Let's say in a banking situation, there may be security concerns around that sort of filming.
So what's a solution to that? If you can't get the real stuff, how else can you do it?
So we have a solution using our Chameleon tools, and what we do there is we generate synthetic images. So we create very lifelike images, very lifelike videos, but they're created completely with computer graphics. This has a number of advantages. So the privacy one that we've just talked about, for example, also that annotation that I talked about, which typically costs $5 per image if I'm doing it with the real world image, suddenly comes effectively for free because I've generated the image, I know what the objects are.
I imagine there's more at work here than just capturing the image. I mean, let's say you have two objects, one on top of the other. Does that change how it's perceived?
Absolutely. So if I'm trying to label an image and I've got multiple objects with occlusions and so on, it makes it very, very difficult to do manually. The other big advantage of synthetic data is as we track frame to frame across video, let's say we're talking about a crowd of people, if I'm trying to label that manually and someone has appeared on one frame, and it's not till 100 frames later that they reappear out of the crowd, to identify that was the same person as the start is very difficult manually. With synthetic data, that's something that we can do immediately because every object has a unique ID.
Okay, good stuff. So we've elaborated the challenge. We've indicated that there's a solution. What does your company do?
Okay, so we have a complete tool set which allows users to create what we call a scenario. That's basically saying, what do you want to simulate? We allow them then to have a user interface which makes it very easy to put, let's say, the vehicles and the pedestrians in place, and then to simulate and generate those images. So we generate all the training data that is needed, and then we provide a tool because typically you're going to use both real images and synthetic images together. So we have a tool that combines that together for you.
So it almost sounds like a school for artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that we're going to see increasingly used, is that combination of real and synthetic images, because just real images on their own are just not going to be able to achieve the results that people are looking for now.
Now, which kinds of companies would take advantage of your product?
So we're working a lot with OEMs, with people who are providing solutions. So across a broad spectrum. So there's retail, where people want to analyze how are consumers taking items off shelves. We're looking at security situations, where how are people crossing a road safely, making sure that pedestrians are safe on road crossings. What's happening perhaps within a agricultural situation with a drone going over crops. So there's all sorts of different applications for this.
Good stuff. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Very interesting stuff.
Okay, thanks a lot for your time, Daniel.
This is Neil Schneider for MTBS-TV at CES 2020. We will, of course, be back with more. Thank you for watching.